I've been interested in how to increase people's motivation for a long time. Who do you want to be? Like, what sort of person is it that you want to be? Not job, it's like character. What do you want your life to be like? What should it be like? And what shouldn't it be like? And like, write about that seriously, like your life depends on it, because it does. How to think about motivation? We'll think about it from the hypothalamic perspective. So we could say one thing that motivation does is set goals. We could say that emotions track progress towards goals. Motivation determines where you're going to aim. So if you're hungry, you're going to aim at something to eat. And then that will organize your perceptions so that you zero out everything that isn't relevant to that task, which is almost everything. You concentrate on those few things that are going to facilitate your movement forward. When you encounter those things, that produces positive emotion as you move through the world towards your goal, and you see that things are laying themselves out that facilitate your movement forward. Those things cause positive emotion. And if you encounter anything that gets in the way, then that produces negative emotion. And it can be like threat, because you're not supposed to encounter something that gets in the way. It can be anger, so that you move it away. It can be frustration, disappointment, grief. Those would, if you had a response that serious to an obstacle, it would probably punish the little motivated frame right out of existence. At the same time that I also realized something that I've never recovered from realizing, I think. I was teaching them about stories and about the fact that our life is a story with a goal and a purpose and a beginning point. And I was encouraging them to develop their own stories. So I had them write an autobiography, and they really got into that. That was quite amazing. To identify, to break their life into epochs and then to describe the important episodes in each epoch, both positive and negative, and what they might do to reduce the possibility of the negative in the future and to capitalize on the positive, which is the purpose of memory, by the way. And then also to write a plan for the future. And so we formalized that. So the plan is, okay, first of all, you have to get yourself in the right mindset. And the mindset is you're trying to take care of yourself like you would care for someone that you cared for. That's a hard mindset to get into because people like their pets better than they like themselves often. And then you have to have a vision. And so the vision would be, well, okay, 3 to 5 years down the road, if your friendship networks were configured properly, what would that look like? If you were pursuing the career that would be appropriate for you and sustaining for you, what would that look like? How are you going to educate yourself? How are you going to take care of yourself mentally and physically? What do you want for an intimate relationship? How are you going to handle temptations like alcohol and drug abuse? Because they take people down pretty frequently. So all you have to do is think about, okay, what could that be like if you had what you needed? Not some wild fantasy, but realistic and what you needed. So that's the first part. And then, okay, now write for 20 minutes about what your life could be like 3 to 5 years down the road if all of this came together. And then now do the opposite. So imagine all your weaknesses and all the ways that you go down the wrong path. And then imagine that gets the upper hand. Then imagine where you are in 3 to 5 years. So then you get a polarity, eh? It's like not this and yes this. So you can run away from the things you don't want and you can run towards the things you do want. That gets your anxiety behind you instead of in front of you, right? Because maybe you're going to go do something difficult and you're afraid of it. And then you think, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to end up there. It's like, oh, okay, that's so terrible that this little terrible is nothing. So, and then in the next part of the exercise, you turn that into an implementable plan, and you write about why your life would be better and why your family's life would be better and why your community's life would be better. So it's like fully articulated. And we've tested about 10,000 university students with that now in 3 different locales. And we've increased the probability that they'll stay in university by about 30% and raised their grade point average about the same. And it's worked best for men who were doing the least well. So in Holland, those were non-Western ethnic minority men, and they improved their performance enough to actually slightly exceed the Dutch national women who were at the top otherwise over 2 years. Yeah, it was unbelievable. It just blew us away. It's a psychological intervention to cure what's hypothetically a sociological problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we listen to what Jordan Peterson has to say, we have to make a really, really clear distinction on the exercise that he gives, because it is a really, really powerful exercise that can be incredibly transformative if done correctly. Now, what do we mean by doing it correctly? So when we're listening to Jordan Peterson, the exercise that he mentions to his students is one that you physically write with your hand and put it from pen to paper. And he doesn't tell his students to go home and think about the goals, think about the next 5 years, think about the ideal situation. He doesn't tell them to go home and type it out on a keyboard or to put it in a voice memo, but he specifically tells his students to write it out. Now, why is that so important? Isn't just writing it out on, a laptop or on your phone or just thinking about it the same thing? Why would the distinction be so huge? And why would the impact be completely different? So this has to do with the body and brain connection. When we see our thoughts on paper, that leaves much more of a deeper impact than it would if we just thought about our goals, because we have hundreds and thousands of goals and thoughts that go on in our minds. But actually seeing it written down on pen and paper is so much more impactful than if it wasn't, or if it was typed out on a keyboard. So when we go into this exercise, a lot of the times when we're writing down our goals, we can sometimes get stuck. If we don't know what the ideal situation that we would like looks like, or the ideal relationship, career, the best practice that we can do to get through the exercise and to actually uncover some of the hidden secrets and some of the hidden aspirations that our brain holds that we can't really tap into just by thinking about it, is when we are writing out each of these different categories of our life, what we want to do is to not let ourselves stop writing out different possibilities. And this puts some strain on the brain where it has to come up with things to write down quickly. So we can sit around and think about different things that we would like, but the exercise would take too long, and sometimes we can hit a wall where we don't know if these are the things we actually want, because we can sit around and contemplate if it's attainable, if it's achievable, if it's something that we actually do want, or if somebody just told that to us and that seems to be the reason that we want it. But when we force our brain to actually spew out ideas of what these things are that we want, we can actually reach deeper levels of the brain and the subconscious mind, where all of our ideals are stored, our habits, our motivations, our aspirations. When we tap into this, we can really find out what are the hidden drivers of what we do on a daily basis. So when we write down these goals, we sometimes can be even surprised that these are actually some of our aspirations. And that's the challenging part, is because our brain doesn't want to push these to the forefront. It's buried so deep inside our neural network that it doesn't come up to the surface. We have hundreds of thousands of thoughts that take priority over these because these are so deeply ingrained. So when doing this exercise, we really just want to encourage you to write out as many possible ideas as you can for each of these exercises, and don't limit yourself at all. So thank you for watching. We hope you really enjoyed this video, and we hope you got some value from it. And yeah, we hope to catch you next time.
Ready to conquer NoFap? Grab our digital NoFap guide now. End your porn addiction. Skyrocket your self-esteem and achieve your goals. Packed with proven techniques, expert advice, and relapse prevention tricks. Click the link below and break free today.